How's everybody doing? Thank you so much, Alyssa, for the great introduction. Wow, I'm nervous. I've been dreaming about this moment for 6 years. I was the kid that did everything right. I was the kid that did everything the system told me to do. Growing up in a traditional Asian culture household, it was always getting the highest grades, coming home and just study, 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 which is what I did growing up. I had very high GPAs growing up through middle school, high school. I did everything correctly. The teachers loved me, but none of that could translate to standardized tests. And I'm sure many of you have heard standardized tests tend to be the devil. If you don't do well on them, you're not going to get into a good college, which means you have to get more scholarship money, which means you get less scholarship money, which means you have to take a higher loan, which means you won't get as reputable of a job because you went to a worse university. They create this negative domino effect, which is completely untrue. But at the time, I didn't know it. I only knew that I had to get the highest grades. So I did extremely well in school, but because I wasn't doing well on these tests, I was actually very suicidal, very depressed throughout the last couple years of high school and going into college because of the culture that I grew up in and that I thought I just couldn't be successful. So I eventually got over that fear about 4 or 5 years later, and I did get into med school. So I took med school classes for a year. About 8 months in, I got sick of the industry. I don't like the way that medicine teaches students in med school, and so I partied for 4 straight months. I dropped out. I moved back here to Austin, and during this time, I had no idea what to do. You can't do much with a bachelor's degree in science except go to medical school. So now that I didn't have that, everyone told me, all right, now I got to go to corporate America, and I have to figure out a way to make money. So I did that. I got fired, deservedly so. I made a lot of mistakes while working in corporate America. So during this time, I had been attending a few Dani Johnson events, and I just came in and thought I could take some of her stuff and apply it to the corporate America. I never in my life dreamed of ever owning a business. My family doesn't own a business. In my culture, it's not very often that happens. And so finally, after Dani one time called me on stage and absolutely crushed me in front of 1,200 people, I finally got the courage to start a business. That was March of 2011 when she called me on stage and just destroyed me. I listened to that MP3 all the time to motivate me. I started a business with no business experience. I made $30,000 in 9 months that year, working 20 hours a week. The next year, I made over $100,000 without increasing my hours. I paid off the student loan debt that I had from med school was about $80,000. I paid all that off in the last 20 months. I was actually debt-free 2 weeks ago from that. I've donated over 15 grand in that time frame as well, and I've started 2 additional companies in addition to that first business that I started. Every dollar that I have made has come from Dani's training. There's no doubt. And I would highly encourage you. You need to take notes. You have to pay attention. The stuff that she teaches works. She taught me everything that I did not learn in school. So all the stuff that people told me that I would fail because I didn't know it, I learned here at these seminars. And it's not just attending the event, but it's staying plugged into the event based on a lot of the materials that you can get in the back. I have everything on that back table, and I listen to it time and time and time again. In fact, most of my clients, sometimes when they're in the car with me, I never play music. I'm always playing the Dani CDs. And so they get really, really upset because we just finished the training, and actually 3 of my clients are coming back in the vehicle with me to drive 2 hours after this event. And yeah, there's 3 of you in the crowd. We're going to be listening to Dani's CDs on the way back. So my favorite product back there is actually Unlimited Success. I would highly encourage you guys, if you have no idea where to start, if you've never bought a product, I would start with that product because it hits every different aspect of business, of relationships, of family, of making money, etc. So I would highly, highly encourage you guys to do that. You guys are not here to listen to me. You guys are here to listen to the best of the best. I'm just a rookie continuing to get better. So please help me welcome my coach and mentor and America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
Okay. You're standing because of him. What a story. But you don't understand, I didn't know his story until Friday. He had talked to Carlene in our client services department, and he sent in his story, and I've been seeing him for 3 years here. And I had no idea. Month after month, seminar after seminar, creating a dynasty after creating a dynasty. And when I saw that story, I was like, what? Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of you. You have done, and I remember shredding you on the stage. But those moments of coaching, those moments of fine-tuning somebody. It's Mike Almeida said the same exact thing, and you and Mike remind me so much of each other. He just has more.
Is it our hair?
Yeah. Okay. Skin color, eyes, height, everything. And if you grew the thing, you can do that. Don't, but then you guys will look like twins, but totally different cultures, Puerto Rican, and you're Indian.
Indian, correct.
I have 3 goddaughters that are Indian. Rohini, have you ever met Rohini? She's one of my very best friends. Okay, but she's Sri Lankan. When he talks about the pressure that their culture puts on education, it's unbelievable. It's an outrageous amount of pressure. And there's been a lot of kids from that culture that get suicidal. The pressure's way too much. And a lot of the parents live through vicariously their kids, meaning if their kids don't end up a doctor, if their kids don't end up with a PhD, then they've disgraced the whole family. So education's really, really strong in that. So I've watched that with my goddaughters too, and with my best friend, who, became a drug addict through college, trying to double major in architecture and engineering. Like, for what? And by the way, she's the dumbest one in her family, with only 2 majors. No, I'm not kidding you, the dumbest one in the family. And then there's, my family, no education. So I just remember you challenging me through your first events. Do you know what I mean? You just were like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You're a first-generation entrepreneur in your family.
I am, yeah, I am.
That's amazing.
Can I share one more thing?
Yes.
So you've been actively seeing me for 3 years.
Yes.
My very first event was actually 2008.
Wow.
September 2008. It was in Dallas at the Sheraton. I was thinking about pursuing a business because I really didn't want to go to medical school at the time. And so the person that brought me into the business said if I want to make money, he was actually my best friend. He's like, I'm not going to hang out with you if you don't come to this event, so come. So he's here in the room. So I said, okay, let's go. I was already, $20,000 in college loan debt anyway from UT, so I thought, okay, what's another $300, right? So,
wow.
So I came to the event. I had to work the Sunday afternoon, which, as you guys will learn later this afternoon, I was very dominant in a certain personality, and I really needed help. I think that was my biggest weakness coming in, to learn the other personality types. And so I actually left at lunch that day to teach, or to go work that afternoon because I had a 3-hour drive somewhere else. And I missed that part of the day. Wow. And then my next event was March 2011. Wow. Because I went to medical school and I went through that whole process. Wow. So what could have happened if I stayed?
I know. You wouldn't have had the $80,000 worth of debt.
Probably not, no.
That's for sure.
So pay attention today.
To all of it. Yeah. To all of it. And so you now help students with their SAT stuff.
Correct. The whole reason I started that was I feel actually very blessed.
That's your business.
I have the best of the best mentor for business, but I also have been very fortunate to meet the Dani Johnson of the test prep industry. Wow. He's helped over 10,000 people get into medical school. He's the Dani Johnson of that sector. So, and he's here in Austin. So he taught me, he trained me, and he got into Harvard Medical School 3 times and said, I'm gonna go start an internet company. So I have that guy crushing me on one end, and then I have her crushing me on another end. So between the two, I put them together, and He was too lazy to start a business. He just trained, and so I feel like I'm kind of living his legacy because he officially retired from that industry now, and his goal was, he left med school and he's helping people get into medical school. So now I want to help people get into college and help people get into medical school, knowing that that's not the goal. The goal is to help people once you get to that place. Yeah. So it's not about getting into college, it's about success.
Amen.
And so what I've learned is that a lot of these companies, what they do is they focus on, hey, if you just, come become my client and we'll help you get into college. Well, that's not the goal. The goal is not to get you into college.
Success.
The goal is to help you succeed. And so I've tried to focus all of that. And you inspired me to start donating. I appreciate that. Actually, the very first month I donated was the first month that I also couldn't make rent in Austin. So that very next month I couldn't make rent, and so I brought down my ego. I went to my dad. I've been very fortunate. My dad said, "Look, I'll lend you the money. We'll cover rent." And the very next day I booked a $1,000 client. That was November of 2012. And then in December, I made more money than I made in November. And then January was Fort Worth Omni. We were there. So that was 2 years ago this month. And I closed a $10,000 deal on Sunday morning. And then on Monday morning, I got a call from the loan people. They had forgiven $4,000 in loans. So, and then last 4 weeks I've made over 40 grand.
Oh my God.
So, she knows what she's doing. You should pay attention. Thanks for crushing me. I appreciate it.
You actually look so different than when you first started coming. You really do. Your eyes are clear. You're just more peaceful and yet very confident. And there was a young man that was here trying to prove himself and striving so much to make something happen, and that's not who you are today, and I'm really proud of you. And by the way, a little birdie told me something that when she surprised you and asked you to be on stage this morning, what did you tell her?
I don't think I can do it.
And what else did you say about public speaking?
Public speaking?
Yeah, I don't like to do that. That's...
Oh, I've not. Well, the stuff that I do, I've talked in front of like 10 people. I've talked in front of 20 people. The most I've ever done was 100. And I was there's over 1,000 people in this room. And I've frozen like crazy in the past. And so when it wasn't Alyssa, it was somebody else that had originally told me I needed to come inside. I started shivering. I really did not want to come up. It took me about 20 minutes, and the guy that originally introduced me to Dani to convince, he's like, "Don't be an idiot, just go on stage." So.
Did he do awesome? You rocked it. You were so natural. You were. And that's the thing. When you're just yourself and you're just authentic, and y'all need to pay attention to this, when you're yourself and you're authentic, you're not performing for anybody. And people connect on a heart-to-heart level, a spirit-to-spirit level, when you just be yourself. When you're not trying to impress somebody, just be you. You know how to be you and be the best at being you. Don't try to be somebody else. You are amazing. I just am so proud of you. Blown away. Thank you for writing in your testimony. That to me was a God thing, that it came when it came. At the time, you know what I mean? Like, I want him on stage. He has to tell a story. I gotta get him on camera. He has to inspire everybody. How many of you have been seeing him around here for years? Did you have any idea? Right? That's what I hate. That's the only thing I hate about my job. Well, there's a few things, but this is one of them. This is one of them that there's thousands of testimonials out there. We do not know what they are unless somebody writes it in and tells us. And then we can like disperse that testimony and say, be inspired by this. How many of you are inspired today by his story? My gosh. Thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
So proud of you, man.